This conference will now be recorded.
All right, beautiful. So today is Thursday, November 8th, already about a third through the month already. And as always, everything we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only. Nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So let's take a look at SQ. Now, I can't say I'm shocked, based off of the fact of, the whole earnings aspect. That's not what I do. But we still have a whole bunch of bid prints that are sitting down there at that 65 level. So apparently, I guess guidance wasn't too great, and people didn't like that, which for obvious reasons there. But we're certainly going to be watching. This is going to be the number one thing that I'm looking at today. So if we take a look, we have some really great bid prints at 750 from earlier this morning. Just coming back down, we're just continuing at that 750 level to get hit. So what that means is that we're going to expect it to pull up. I mean, you know what? The more times that we see that thing get hit, the further we're going to expect it to pull up. But when we get that trigger towards that downside, it's going to be one beautiful thing. So it really, I mean, it's best, great show of hand. I mean, we haven't really got a great show of hand in quite some time. And you're going to see from most of my lists that I have for this morning, we don't really have one yet, but we'll go over those in a second. So pretty simple, pretty black and white here. We know we have beautiful bid print sitting down at that 65 level, beautiful bid print sitting at 77.50. Pull up, looking for that trigger back to the downside. Next one looking at is PYX. So my next three stocks that I have on my list, as of right this second, aren't too great. And when I say they're not too great, it basically means that we don't really have any type of great show of hand in them. But overall, okay, what we're going to be looking for. So what PYX is showing is that we have a great range. Unfortunately, it only trades about 2.2 million shares each day. But if you look at the actual pre-markets, it typically doesn't trade anything. So we can expect more volume than we usually see out there. So we know it's going to have a pretty good range based off of everything we see. On average, it moves $3.39. So we're going to be expecting more than that. So essentially what we're going to have to do is just wait to see that big show of hand. Remember, the orders are very thin. So these two bid ask prints, at 19, I don't really care too much about. They don't mean much to me whatsoever right now. What I want to see is the stock come to a level and show us a blatant show of hand. And at that point, we're going to be able to get a nice high range trade from that. So nothing great yet, but based off the variables we have there, we should certainly see something real nice come into there. And Win is the same deal. I have basically the same exact thought process coming into this. So we can see that overall right now trading 196,000 shares. Usually doesn't trade much at all in the pre-market. You can see it took a really big hit. I mean, you're talking about jumping all the way up right as soon as the earnings started to 121.75, and then boom, down to 97. So that's a pretty substantial move towards that downside. So like I said, overall, we're certainly going to be expecting to see the same type of deal. Now, we do have some decent prints here. You could say we had one print at 100. We have one print that just came in at 97 on the bid. The orders are very, very thin. So this 97, that's not what I'm going to start my morning off with, even though it's going to affect it. And we should see a pull-up above that 97 and then a breakdown below that 97. What I want to see is 2, 3, 4, 5 prints come into it, give us a definitive show of hands saying this is exactly what's going to happen. And we should get a nice big range trade within this one as well. And then Roku's not feeling too well. So a lot of things yesterday did not have a good night. So we could see Roku just took a gigantic hit. And it's funny because usually with these stocks, you end up seeing them make like this really big move and then right after earnings are reported, and then they end up coming right back up afterwards. Not with Roku. Roku just continued to get hit. It pulled up a little bit, but it just wasn't able to make it up above that 55 level, and it's just, continued on its way back down. This is another one though, coming into this morning, I'm not really ecstatic about anything that I've really seen so far. We need a better show of hand. Now, don't get me wrong. This is a nice little burst of prints that we just got at 51.40, but it's not what I'm going to be starting my morning off with. Now, when we have a stock like SQ that's showing us, just continuous bid prints coming in at that 750, I need to see something that shows us definitively this has to happen. Like I said, great buying here. I love it, and especially on how thin the orders are. It's telling us the stock wants to go up, but I want to see something that's just dead black and white. Questions: are we still working off market makers at 65 and SQ? What would you have to see for a new story? Davis, so see, you got to get in classes because this is something that we really focused on within stories. The story itself, that guy that sold at 65, Davis, he's not going anywhere. He still has those shares that are sitting there at 65, and we know we have huge pull-ups. So overall, I'm still under the assumption, especially with what we're seeing right now coming at that 77.50, that market maker is still in there, still has the short position at 65 and will be making money from it. Okay, the prints themselves, when it's going up on a pull-up, remember this whole pull-up that happened in SQ, and we'll come back to SQ right now. Okay, this entire pull-up that happened in SQ is based off it hitting 65. We pulled all the way up, hitting 65, pulling all the way up. It's all started off of these bid prints sitting right there. So because of those bid prints that are sitting right there, that's exactly what we're looking for. Here's our pull-up that's coming into SQ, by the way. So just keep that in mind. Let's take a look at our scanners. I don't really see too much else out there that I really care too much about. RSLS, I mean, nice move up, but it just was on disgusting volume, nothing I can get behind. And then ARRS, oops, it doesn't look like it yep, it actually did. And then ARRS looks like a buyout or something like that, because it's just doing a whole bunch of buying, a whole bunch of selling, nothing that I have any interest in. We have better stuff to be looking on out there. And then coming over to the loser side, I mean, we have a big list of things. PYX we've already spoken about, WYNN we've already spoken about. Coming in Roku, we've already spoken about. COMM, okay, this one's not terrible. Well, actually, it is terrible. Excuse me. This was the wrong one. There's one other one that I was looking at that I didn't hate, but it was just better stuff. It wasn't PRGO, because this volume is just not really going to do it for us. I mean, it's got a monster range coming into it, but I'm not seeing anything that I'm really a big fan of. You can see the orders are just doing nothing. Okay, so Qualcomm I'll go over in a second. That was one I saw Qualcomm. I just don't care about it. And the reason being is because it ends up being such a flooded trade usually. So what we end up seeing is we just see a ton of volume that comes into it after earnings. I am going to put it on there. So I will put Qualcomm, but just remember, I mean, we usually do, like you can see right here at 60, we got, I actually gave us some good prints, but a lot of times Qualcomm, we just get, it almost looks like an Intel or something like that. But you know what? There's no reason to not. It's usually a pretty controllable stock too. Okay, so the range is looking great, right now, but you can see on average it trades about $1.50. It's towards the bottom of my list. That's what they get for buying the SD Padres part. And other than that, guys, that looks like about it. So SQ by far is my number one stock that I'm going to be looking at. Remember, huge amount of selling coming into that 78.50. Expect a big pull up. So if it pulls up to 80, and I'm not, that's fine. I could care less, because of the fact we understand it hit it many, many times. All right, guys, anything else out there that I missed? All right, beautiful. So remember, we will be starting at 10 a.m. I'm going to be sending that link out within the next probably about 5 minutes or so. I will see everyone in the chat room and the rest of you in class. Happy trading.